They returned the money. From Mexico, perfect. Now we have perfect in reverse. The people for whom there are no jobs are coming back, and the money that they counted on is drying up. Oh, very bad. And nothing is solving their problem. They have nothing else to sell. They have nothing else with which to cope with this problem, so they are disintegrating as an economic system. Extraordinary side issue of this crisis, but that may become front page issue any day now. Okay. In this total story then, not only is there explosive profits and high wages, but everybody who can get in on this expansive sector is having a wonderful time, earning a lot of money, working very hard, but earning a lot of money. These people are concentrated in a few places, like here, Lower Manhattan. They create a whole new industry, the conversion of dirty old warehouse buildings into new loft apartments at huge rates in the financial district, in Tribeca, places that you wouldn't want to go to late in an afternoon, let alone the evening, a few years ago. They become the chicest, bestest, most expensive, super-duper locations for new tapas restaurants, etc., etc. Okay? Well, that's a big industry that's created. It also creates, of course, and this is a little footnote for all of you, a dependence of certain cities, like New York, on all of this continuing. And when that stops, like now, oh my goodness, what is going to happen to a city like New York that is so dependent? If you ever want to look at the numbers, take a look at the percentage of the revenue of the city and state of New York that is derived from bonuses, not the regular salary, just the bonuses paid around Christmas time to financial sector workers every year, or used to be. And what it means to the revenue of Mr. Patterson as governor and Mr. Bloomberg as mayor, that those bonuses are not being handed out the way they were, and therefore the tax, which is very high on those bonuses, is not being collected. So another side issue. But last point about this before we change the focus a little bit. America as an economy became conscious, our society, that we were getting rid of the manufacturing, the kind of old-style jobs, the factory jobs, the cities built around factories, the Clevelands, the Youngstown, Ohios, the Pittsburghs, all of that, just dying. If you visited them across the last 25 years, it's really sad. There's either nothing. Some of you know Michael Moore's film, the first one about the... Roger and Me, where you have the panoramas of Flint, Michigan, another one of these cities, of these sort of, overgrown with weeds, empty lots with abandoned factories in the background. It's worth taking a look just to see the kind of art photography that he has in there of these destroyed cities. Detroit, horrible. And those that are saved in a very peculiar fashion. No jobs, no industry. Instead, the downtown abandoned factory and office buildings are made into boutiques. And if you go to Pittsburgh, it's stunning. The whole city is a wasteland, but in the middle, modern hotels with underground passages linking one old factory that has been redone as a lovely collection of sort of mall of little boutiques that are all much too expensive for anybody in the city of Detroit or Pittsburgh to pay for, but are basically there for conventions to come in, be at the hotel, have their meetings, go to the 6 restaurants you can safely walk to, and then get on the airplane and get the hell out of there, because the minute you take a walk more than 2 blocks out of this little center, you get real depressed at what you see. And the main function of the police is to be like the old wagons, to circle this core center and keep the people from the rest of the city from coming in, and save them, the poor benighted drunks from inside, from wandering out and never coming back. Very, very sad. Town after town does this. By the way, the building of a mall inside a dead town is called urban renewal. But it is urban, the renewal part. There may be 6 of those things that worked in the United States for very special reasons, and most of them don't. Most of these urban malls have to be refinanced every 5 to 7 years. They're financial disasters. I lived for many years in New Haven, Connecticut. It's a perfect example. It's a city that constantly refinances its downtown mall, that is a dead mall, to which only poor people in the city go by bus. All the people with cars go only to suburban malls because they're afraid of the mall in downtown. And it's a disaster. It's a city that has no industry anymore. It lives off of this mall, the poor people who can't move out, who are the majority. And the city ranks as one of the 7th poorest in the United States. The U.S. Census Department ranks large cities by doing the following, if you're interested. It makes a fraction. In the numerator are the number of families that live below the official poverty line, and in the denominator are the total number of families in the town. So that you measure the poverty of a city by the size of the proportion of its families that are below the poverty line. By that standard, for all large cities, that's cities with a population over 100,000, that's the way the Census Bureau does it, New Haven ranks number 7, 7th poorest city. Connecticut, which is the richest state in the Union by per capita income, is the only state that has 2 of the top 10 poorest cities in it. Hartford, which is the capital, and New Haven, the 2 biggest cities. So think of it. Connecticut has the richest living cheek by jowl with the poorest. Recipe for disaster. In New Haven, it's even starker, because the 7th poorest city in the United States subsidizes the delivery of free services to the 4th richest university on this planet. New Haven subsidizes Yale. It's in the local community, this is called, and it's said with great pride, we are Robin Hood in reverse. Here we steal from the poor and give it to the rich. Not a sustainable arrangement. New Haven will also one day blow up from this contradiction. All of this comes to a head in this society as the wealth gets more and more concentrated. All statistics across these 30-year periods document the growing inequality of wealth and income in the United States. In the 1970s, the United States was markedly less, had a lower inequality of income and wealth distribution than most of the countries of Western Europe. That is, we were more equal as a society in terms of wealth and income than, say, France or Germany or Italy. I don't remember each country, but in general. 30 years later, reverse. We are the most unequal compared to those societies. I mean, a real dramatic change in the ranking in a relatively short number of years. But that's because of this explosion of profit that concentrates the profit in a very small sector. But it's the sector that's most well connected. And if I had time, I would talk to you about what such a concentration of wealth in such a small sector permits these people to do in shaping the politics. In a society where money is what enables a political candidate to bring his or her message to the people, to the expensive medium of TV and so forth, your ability to raise money, if those of you who follow American politics, you know that early in the primaries, the newspapers now discuss this and that person running to win the primary in terms of how much money he or she has been able to raise, because we all understand that will determine how much of a machine they can buy, how much advertising they can afford, etc., etc. So in a concentration of wealth, in a society whose politics is money dependent, ... you all know the result. The mayor of New York is not a poor person. Right? Why? There's something to do. It has some relationship, I'm sure you've all figured out, between the wealth he has and the position he occupies. It doesn't say that a person without wealth can't get there, but there is a growing phenomena of people with independent wealth being able to do this. So in the United States, production moves away from manufacturing. This process had been going on a long time, speeds up in the last 30 years. We become more and more an economy focused on moving paper around, finance, real estate, trading title to things, arranging deals. But we don't make much stuff. as I already told you before, with a squeezed working class, squeezed for all the reasons we've gone through, it becomes necessary for American producers of goods for a working class that's squeezed to be able to produce them more cheaply. And American companies have already been shown how to do that. And the answer is, get the hell out of the United States. Go to where the labor is cheap. Go to where the rules against polluting are non-existent or easily waivable. Go to China. Go to Asia. Go to Latin America. Go out. Produce it there and bring it back into the United States. Use all your distribution systems. Use your well-known, recognized name, but don't make it here. So the very processes that I'm talking about build on themselves. More and more production is out of the United States, and more finance and all that is concentrated here. It produces this process in the United States, a very peculiar world economy.